Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sunday Night is Organ Music Tonight. And tonight we're starting the other way round. Normally we start on classical churchy organs and move to theatre organs, but tonight we're doing it the other way round. A lot of people say, I miss the theatre organ stuff because I'm asleep. You shouldn't be asleep, you should be awake the whole time. Organ music is fun. Now, that then was a nice sloppy ballad to start things off for this evening. Somewhere Over the Rainbow, of course, from the legendary The Wizard of Oz, as sung by Judy Garland. And from the 30s, all the way back to the 1930s. A wonderful piece of music and definitely good fun. It's one of those lovely soft ballads that's in the key of E flat. E flat. Now, I just spotted Jerry Clark there saying in the chat, he loves the sound of the Morton. You are so right, Jerry. This is the Morton theatre organ sample set. And it's a kind of sort of mishmash of various Morton sounds from different organs that's been added to at times. It's not one particular organ that's been sampled, but it's lots of different things. And I think it's wonderful because it's got everything, including the vibraphones that you need for these things. Isn't it wonderful? A lovely sound indeed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we've got lots of lovely requests this evening. We have requests for jazzy music. We have requests for German jazz music. Oh yes, there is such a thing. And we're going to move to that right now. Our friend from the wonderful city of Berlin, Mr. Kai, I'm not going to say any more than that. I'm actually going to use a set of registrations that are called Kai on this organ because, there we go. Haha, very nice. And our friend Kai from Berlin wrote to say, how about, and gave me a couple of pieces of music. He actually sent me 3 or 4 pieces of music. I'm going to play at least 2 of them tonight because they're rather wonderful. One of them is a great old sort of German, sort of, I don't know, when's it from? 1932, there you are. So pre-Second World War. In the, the times, remember Berlin in the roaring 20s, all that kind of thing, yeah. So this is that kind of, it's the end of that era, as it were, before things started going pear-shaped. But anyway, this is where the fun was happening. And a chap called Robert Stolz, I suppose you could guess by that name what persuasion Robert Stolz was in life. I don't suspect he spent much more time in Germany in the years to come. But Robert Stolz wrote this and other pieces of music, all in this wonderful style. And this one's called Wenn die kleinen Veilchen blühen. It's all about lovely little flowers blooming. Veilchen, what are Veilchen? What are Veilchen in English? Could you tell me what Veilchen in English are, please? Who knows what Veilchen are? Veilchen? Violets. Oh, when the little violets bloom. There you are. I know nothing. She's the botanist in the family. I know nothing about these things. Robert Stolz and his little violets blooming for our friend Kai. It's a foxtrot and it says gentle foxtrot tempo. So, ladies and gentlemen, grab your partners, please, for a spot of foxtrotting. Ah, isn't that cute? Wenn die kleinen Veilchen blühen, when the little violets bloom. What a gorgeous piece of music. Thank you, Kai, for that magnificent request. That is a keeper. The keepers go on a file in the corner where I will repeat them from time to time. Great fun indeed. We had a request for a piece of music called... Who knows who this ending was? Who ended almost every song they ever recorded in that? That was the bugle call rag. An old piece of music, that a very famous theatre organ recording back in the 30s, Sidney Torch. A frightfully posh conductor and arranger called Sidney. Hello everybody, this is Sidney Torch. And Sidney Torch recorded all sorts of amazing jazzy stuff on the organ. I've played a couple of his arrangements before. For example, the Temptation Rag, which I've played many times, was copied from the Sidney Torch version. There's that wonderful bit in the middle. What key do I play it in? I can't remember. Do I play it in G? Yeah, and then it's in C, isn't it? And there's this bit in the middle which does this. You've got the melody. So that's... wonderful. Sidney Torch was a very clever theatre organist. He knew exactly what he was doing. And St. Augustine got it right. Spike Jones, well done. Spike Jones and his City Slickers. Spike Jones and his City Slickers. Champagne for two. This was a request for a long time ago from our friend Joe, which I just spotted in my mind. I sort of save things in my brain and remember them from time to time. While we're talking about Spike Jones, we might as well have, it's in here, I think it's in here. Champagne, it's in here somewhere, isn't it? Is it not in here? Oh God, don't tell me it's not in here. Cocktails for two, not champagne, it's called Cocktails for Two. Sorry, yes. Get it right, Fraser. Cocktails for two. I'm not going to do it. Not going to do all that kind of stuff. If you don't know the original Spike Jones version, this is a comedy version of a lovely old ballad called Cocktails for Two from a team called Johnson and Carlo from 1934. Lots of 30 stuff tonight, I hope you don't mind. Spike Jones, like he did with all his pieces of music, took them and turned them into the most amazingly funny pieces of music. And a lot of the sound effects that were made were done by a guy called Mel Blanc. Remember Mel Blanc? He did all the voices for Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck and all that kind of thing. But Mel Blanc started out life with Spike Jones and did all this sort of all this funny sort of gargling and weird noises in the background. Vanessa has no idea what I'm doing.
That have done it.
She says that's often the case. Cocktails for two. Got to do the hiccup at the end. Let's see if we can work it out. All right. Fertig. I shall do it. Ding. Ladies and gentlemen, we're done. Cocktails for two. I can't do the proper hiccup sound. I can't do the proper hiccup sound that we do. I can't remember how they did it, but there, that was one of the favourites there. Cocktails for Two, a long overdue request for our friend Joe over in South Carolina.
Heute fehlen ganz viele. Wo sind die alle?
Not many people there tonight, says Vanessa. A lot of people are missing. Where are they all?
Bodenseehorn fehlt.
Did he say he was going to be here?
Hat er nicht gesagt, aber ist immer da.
That's one.
Jürgen Stelzer fehlt.
Jürgen Stelzer is krank.
Nancy Telling fehlt.
Nancy? I saw Nancy. Nancy's here.
Nein, Nancy ist nicht da.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Nancy, are you there? Calling Nancy. I'm sure someone wrote something about Nancy. Did someone not write something to Nancy? Who else? That's three.
Ja, warte, Rien ist nicht da.
Rien, Colonel Ryan, the Iron King.
Ja, wo
Is the Iron King?
King?
Where's the Iron King? All right. Who else? That's
Viele
four.
ist da.
That's four.
Ja, Hannes Hobby ist nicht da.
Johannes is not there. Johannes wrote to us and said he might not be there.
Apex ist nicht da.
Apex.
Also
Apex?
Einige sind heute
Apex.
nicht da.
Apex. Apex. It's a Sunday night at the end of the holiday season. Maybe a lot of people are on their holidays. Jazz music of the early days, the very early days, was full of sort of ragtime and comedy elements. I don't know if you know this, which is why I'm telling you. And there are some great old tunes from the very beginning of the jazz era. Now this one in particular, this is from 1918. Now this is way, way, way back. It's over 100 years old, folks. And it's from Nick LaRocca and what was his other, the guy Shields. What wasn't Shields now? Who remembers Mr. Shields? Nick LaRocca and somebody Shields. And this was like the original Dixieland Jazz Band. This was their kind of stuff. And this is a great old fun tune that they did a long time ago. And it's full of things called breaks. And breaks are when the music stops. There's a break. And it's sort of a hiccup in the music. Where you say, oh, what's happening? And they did this deliberately. It was to sort of to keep the band awake, to keep the audience awake. But more importantly, when they started recording these things, it was to keep the sound engineers awake. Don't forget, these were being recorded on 78 shellac discs. And a lot of this music was arranged to be played to keep people's attention. This is what they did. This is a piece of music called, this is great for all the fetishists out there, it's called Fidgety Feet. fidgety feet. Oh, I love that kind of music. Isn't it great fun? I could play this kind of stuff all day. There's a certain kind, a style of sort of theatre organ that I somehow merged into there. If you're from the United Kingdom, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. If you're from the United States, you might not. There's a great mecca of theatre organ music in the United Kingdom, a wonderful seaside sort of holiday resort called the Blackpool. Blackpool is actually the English word for Dublin, believe it or not. Dublin translated means black pool, but there you are. But this is Blackpool in the northwest of England. And in the Blackpool Tower, that's a sort of a thing that's a miniature Eiffel Tower, there's a ballroom. And in that ballroom, since the very beginning, there has been a Wurlitzer theatre organ, probably the most famous Wurlitzer theatre organ of all time. It's been there since the tower opened in the 1920s. It's been enlarged, it's been amplified, it's been changed and improved and things like that. But it still plays every single day. Every single day. There's a team of organists there led by the incomparable Phil Kelsall, a wonderful guy. Phil's been doing it since the 80s. He's been there for ages. He's now, I think, he's MBE or OBE? Certainly MBE, I think. Phil's been, recognised for his services to the music industry and entertainment industry, and quite rightly so, because they do this every day. And there's a sort of wonderful style, this sort of Blackpool style. The idea is it's for dancing. It's a ballroom, and people go there and do ballroom dancing, and they're accompanied by either the Wurlitzer theatre organ or a sort of an electronic organ. It's a Technics or something like that, I can't remember. Throughout the day, from opening, right up until evening time, the organists come on, play an hour slot, go off, the next organist comes on. It's sort of non-stop, and this happens every day during the season. And there's a certain kind of style associated to that kind of organ playing. You have to be very strict in your tempo, obviously, because you're playing for dancers. And dancers are really strict about things. If you miss a beat, or if you slow down or speed up even the tiniest little bit, they will crucify you, literally. They're horrible sometimes, dancers. If you're ever in the area, just go to the Blackpool Tower, buy a ticket, sit in the ballroom and just listen to the organ music. You will be astounded. And the quality of the playing is phenomenal. But there's a sort of style, like I say, the style. If you have a piano attachment, and you have a glockenspiel and a xylophone, and then you play this sort of, it's difficult to do, actually. A lot of people think, the Blackpool style, it's so cheesy, it's easy and all the rest of that. It's not. To do it properly, it's incredibly difficult. And I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I like to think I would love to do that job. I think it would be great. And I've sort of, I love that style because it's so happy. It's happy music. And there's lots of, that sounds easy. It's not necessarily easy, but when you do all this kind of stuff, like I was doing here towards the end, you change the rhythms. You don't play the melody. You sort of add sort of ragtime rhythms. It's like remember Mrs. Mills? It's like Mrs. Mills on the theatre organ. So instead of playing the melody like, let's leave the microphone on. Instead of playing the melody like this, yeah. First of all, we need all the percussions. You're not just doing that, you're adding sort of ragtimey rhythms the whole time. So you're doing this. That's only part of it. And then what you have to do is get your left hand in there on the same registration. Now, some of the organists there, they do this jumping stuff, which is great fun. It's very difficult to do. You get them doing it all three keyboards like this. All that kind of stuff. It's great to watch. It's great fun. And they've been doing it for years, Phil and the team, they can really do it, and they're incredibly clever. But if you sort of do this in that kind of style that I was doing at the end there, you get that sort of Blackpool-y sound. Let me do one more chorus of Fidgety Feet. all that kind of stuff. It's incredible sort of happy music, and it's good fun indeed. I hope you're all happy this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and having a happy time. And I hope you've had a good weekend as well. It's good fun having a good weekend. We're back from our holiday. We came back from our break at the end of last week. So when did we get back? Thursday, basically. Wednesday night, Thursday. We got back. And since then, we haven't had a chance to sort of catch up on everything. So tonight's program is basically, you know, some requests that we got over the weekend and spontaneous stuff. I have written down a program of this kind of stuff. Next week's program, Friday and Sunday, will be more classically minded. So I hope you will be joining us again for that. And I'm going to try to get more regular content out during the week as well. And I'm going to get back to creating exclusive content for what? And I'm going to get. I'm scaring Vanessa tonight with my loud noises.
Ursa May hat schon aufgeschrieben, erschwerte Arbeitsbedingungen für das Management. Ne?
Oh, heavens above. You put me off. What was I saying? Oh yes, and I will be finally getting around to creating lots of extra content for our Patreon members. I've been disgracefully lazy over the past little while, and I'm very sorry for that. So I will be getting round to getting some extra content for our Patreon members, which is, you know, I'm very grateful to our Patreon members for helping us out. If you are interested to help us out, you can. There's a thing there. You can buy a virtual concert ticket. Vanessa has a PayPal link there if you want to help us out. If you want to do it on a regular basis, people have started doing this on a regular basis now. Via PayPal, there's an option you can click for regular payments, monthly payments. Or you can join us on Patreon, which I think is there as well. Do we have a Patreon link, Vanessa, for the people? We do. You can pop that up as well, and you can join us on Patreon for various different memberships. And if you're one of the people who contributes regularly on PayPal, and when I say regular, I mean sort of regularly, monthly, that kind of thing, or just generally regular and generously, then obviously you get those extras as well. So thank you very much indeed for your help and for your concert tickets. We are very grateful to you for that. Now, oh, Rien has arrived. Hooray! Rien is here.
Ich habe gehört, hat jetzt selber irgendwie Livestream gemacht.
We're just home after a long day of organ playing and live stream testing from a church in Breda. I was in Breda not very long ago. Well, a few years ago, 2016. I played in the Breda Jazz Festival. And I played the organ in the Grote Kerk, the grand church, the great church of Breda. During the organ festival, during the jazz festival, sorry, I got to play that. Great fun. Anyway, where were we? Yes, so thank you very much for your goodies. Thank you very much for helping us out. When I win the lottery, I will gift you 90%, says St. Augustine. 90% of anything you win, or 90% if you win the jackpot? That would be good fun. Thank you very much indeed. That would be very kind indeed. Yes, should you wish to bequeath us any of your money, then do get in touch. We are very, very interested. No, that's a joke. That's a joke. We are very grateful for all your help. Thank you very much indeed. Without you, none of this would be possible. In case there are any more foot fetishists out there, here's one that you may recognize from a penguin-related film. It's called Happy Feet from Ager and Yellen, 1930. Never heard of the composers before. Happy Feet. Happy feet. Happy organist. Happy wife. Happy life. She's not watching.
Ich guck, ich höre das, ich sehe das, ich kann überall hören und sehen.
She's not paying attention.
Du willst was trinken?
Yes, thank you.
Ja, ich hab kein
She just asked me like I was the dog, like I was Shiloh. She said, do you want something to drink? Yes. Can I have a tasty beverage, please? She gave me a bottle. Are we the peasants now? Don't we have glasses anymore?
So,
Normally in this household we have glasses that we drink out of. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, I shall be a peasant and I shall drink straight from the bottle. Cheers.
Frau 8, oder?
Mm.
Ja, ne?
For Joe. Hast du ihm gesagt? Ah, happy feet, ladies and gentlemen. Great stuff indeed. Actually, on the other page, while we're here, while we're on the subject of happy, here's a very, very famous German song, and it is a German song, and not many people remember this. We need to change registrations, and I think we'll have a piano again, so let's go back to those. Click. And you might recognize this. A bunch of very talented singers, again from the Berlin area. They fled the country due to political nonsense in the 1930s, but back in 1929 they composed and recorded one of the most famous pieces of music we haven't... Oh, really? Apparently Rasbaz isn't there tonight either. Tut tut, what's happening in Zurich tonight? But yes, this group, they were called the Comedian Harmonists, and this was one of their most famous songs. Happy Days are here again, or the original title, someone wrote it here, Wochenend und der Sonnenschein. Das kennst du, ne? Oh, Vanessa in the background, nope, she doesn't know that. She doesn't know it. Why not? You should know it.
Könntest du von denen auch Liebling, mein Herz lässt dich grüßen?
I beg your pardon?
Achso, ich soll dich von Gleiswanderer fragen, ob beide Sachen unspielbar waren, die er geschickt hat, oder nur eins?
Gleiswanderer, dein Akkordeonstück. Oh, oh. Nicht mit einem Menschen. Oh meine Güte. Nein, nicht mit einem Menschen. Das andere habe ich schon. Ne? Bei mir bist du schön. Das habe ich schon. Ich weiß, dein so, was ist das Wort? Was ist, Trompetensolo. Das habe ich noch nicht gemacht. Das bauen wir aber irgendwann mal ein. Habe ich aber neulich gespielt. Wir machen was anderes. Here's a piece of music.
Achso, ich soll dich auch fragen, ob du ein Bier möchtest.
Oh, yes, please. Who asked that? Oh, someone asked if I would like a beer. Yes, I would love a beer. We actually have beer in the fridge. We actually have beer in the fridge. Du kannst mir ein Forst holen, wenn du willst. Yes, my manager is willing to go downstairs and get a tasty beverage from the fridge.
Oh, Andrew Prince ist jetzt Patreon-Mitglied.
Andrew Prince has joined us on Patreon. Thank you, Andrew Prince. That's very kind of you indeed. I regularly play pieces of music from down south, as it were, sort of Charleston. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. That's got a very sort of double entendre title. Nothing could be finer than to be in Carolina in the morning. And this piece of music I'm about to play as well is another one of those that sort of, well, let's just say the title is a little double entendre-like. It actually refers to the state Virginia. And the piece of music is called I'm Coming, Virginia. And it's nothing to do with a woman called Virginia, and it's nothing to do with anything else. It's simply I'm on my way to that part of the country. And this is a wonderful piece of music. It's got the most amazing chord sequences. Earlier today, I was talking to our good friend, Jerry Martin. And Jerry was talking about Irish music and it's, and the way it's built. And of course, jazz music in the States, it was an amalgamation of all sorts of European and African music styles that came together in the United States. Vanessa's getting old. She makes noises when she stands up. You know when you get old, it's like, when you stand up, yeah? She's doing that, and she's only 32. I thought that was an old... Wie bitte? We had a hospital, Vanessa had a hospital appointment recently, nothing serious, just a checkup. And I, of course, accompanied her, and the nurse at the reception, she sort of said, "Are you the father?" to me, which of course everyone thought was hilariously funny. I said, "No, I'm the husband." And she said, "Oh!" And then I said, "Do I really look that old?" And she sort of tried to rewind her comment. It didn't work. It didn't work at all. So anyway, we're talking to Jerry about harmonies, the wonderful world of harmonies. And, all the sort of the European music and the African influences that came to America sort of started down in the South, New Orleans, and then sort of bubbled up north and became more sophisticated, especially in New York, Kansas City, believe it or not, and Chicago. Out west, it was all still cowboys and that kind of thing. But, in the middle and towards the east, it was very sophisticated. And sort of harmonic progressions and things, they were sort of taken from... They were taken from European styles and, oh my goodness, look, ladies and gentlemen, a tasty, refreshing beverage in a glass. And before you get excited, it's 0% alcohol. This is Italian beer from Südtirol. We took it back with us and it's alcohol-free. So, cheers. And it's ice cold. Woo. Brain freeze. Anyway, this is one of those pieces that has the most amazing harmonic progressions. I'm Coming of Virginia. Very famous recording by Fats Waller. Let's see if we can kind of emulate the Fats Waller style here on the organ. I'm coming, Virginia.
Markus ist jetzt auch Mitglied bei Patreon.
Markus? Who is Markus? Markus is also a Patreon-Mitglied. Hallelujah. We haven't had for a very long time, there it is, Duke Ellington. I love the music of Duke Ellington. Hands up if you love the music of Duke Ellington.
Hier, William. Guck mal, der hat dir Dings vom Schottland. Cheers from Scotland.
I beg your pardon? Cheers from Scotland.
William.
William, cheers from Scotland to all of those with a drink in their hand. I will join you with that. William. Yes, thank you, William. Cheers from Scotland. How are things back in the old country? Haven't been there for a long, long time. Yeah, Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington. Are we enjoying ourselves this evening, ladies and gentlemen? Don't forget, thumbs up. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And don't forget on the way past to get yourself a virtual concert ticket. Habt ihr schon abonniert, liebe Leute? Habt ihr schon einen Daumen hoch gegeben für das Video? Und habt ihr schon eine Konzertkarte gekauft? Ihr wisst wo? Alles da. Duke Ellington. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Now this is a piece of music that's normally played at this sort of tempo. All that kind of stuff, yeah, nice and fast. Now, I actually think it should be played at a much slower tempo. Much slower tempo. And many years ago on a trip to New York, I was fortunate enough to meet a guy called Frank West. Now, not many people out there might know who Frank West was, but Frank West was one of Count Basie's saxophone players. And I just met him on the street. I recognized him. I said, "Oh my God, you're Frank West." And he stopped and said, "Nobody knows me," but I recognized him. And we had a long chat. And we had something to eat together. We had a few drinks together. And he then invited me to a concert he was playing at. And it turned out it was a concert at the Lincoln Center with Wynton Marsalis and the entire sort of Lincoln Center band, or whatever they're called, the orchestra. And Frank West was one of the solo guests that evening. They also had Clark Terry there. Clark Terry was a wonderful trumpeter who played with Count Basie and Duke Ellington. And I was invited by Frank West, so I was sort of hanging around backstage, meeting all these people. Oh my God, oh my God. Clark Terry, he was in a wheelchair in those days. And I got to have a chat with Clark Terry about his days with Count Basie and, of course, Duke Ellington. And I asked him about Duke Ellington, what was he like? And he wasn't very positive about Duke Ellington as a person, but he said as a band leader and as a musician, absolutely amazing. And I asked him about, because I'd just done a recording with my band at the time of It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing, and I did it really slow. So I told him that. And he said, yeah, we did that once in the early 70s, just before Duke Ellington died. They played a few concerts, Duke Ellington's sort of birthday concerts, and they did It Don't Mean a Thing If It Ain't Got That Swing as a really dirty, slow blues. And it went down really well. So I felt very chuffed with myself that I'd come up with that idea as well. And that I'd got the chance to talk to Clark Terry about it, one of Duke Ellington's actual musicians. So there you are. There's my little Duke Ellington anecdote. Obviously, I never got to meet Duke Ellington. He died before I was born. But I know my great uncle met Duke Ellington once. So there you are. There's a claim to fame in there somewhere. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing as a naughty blues. It don't mean a thing if it ain't got that swing. Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington and Mr. Mills. Mr. Mills was Duke Ellington's manager and shafted him through for a lot of money until Duke Ellington worked it out and fired him. And Duke Ellington then went on to make a considerable amount of money, as did Count Basie. Count Basie was a very clever and astute businessman. Count Basie, for those of you who don't know, was famous for this. That was the Count Basie ending. And Count Basie had a relatively small hand, which was, not terribly standard back then. That's another way of doing it. And he was pretty good at 10th in the left hand. Oops, which I'm not. I've got Donald Trump hands. I've got terribly small hands for a professional musician. Terrible shame. But in the right hand, he could stretch a 10th here. In D flat. He could also do it in G flat. Sorry, how would you do that? That's it. That's how you do it in G. So G flat or D flat. He was very good at that. You need to be able to stretch a 10th in your right hand. So there you are. Useless piece of information for you. Ladies and gentlemen, a message from the management. Ticket sales are disgraceful this evening. Now, she didn't say that. She said ticket sales could be better. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do. Jelly Roll Morton. I am a great lover of the music of Jelly Roll Morton, and I have no idea if I can play this. I just printed this out and had a look at it. Again, our friend from Berlin, Kai, found this and thought it would be of interest. So let's find out if it's of interest. This was... Jelly Roll Morton was approached in the late 30s by the Library of Congress. Remember them? the Library of Congress, and was asked to do sort of a documentary, basically, about the history of jazz. Jelly Roll Morton claimed, he was a bit full of himself, he claimed to have invented jazz, which obviously he didn't. Jazz was an evolution of musical form. Nobody invented it, but Jelly Roll Morton, you know, a very modest chap that he was, he decided that he invented jazz. And in the late 30s, the Library of Congress did this sort of recorded documentary with him, talking about it. And it's very interesting. A lot of it's on YouTube, which can be followed. And a lot of the stuff that Jelly Roll Morton, obviously he plugged a lot of his own music, and why wouldn't you? But some of the stuff he did, which was rather clever, he did this version of Verdi's Miserere, which is from Il Trovatore, and turned it into a jazz piece of music. And he was talking about, you know, taking the old classics and turning them into pieces of jazz music. And Jelly Roll Morton was a master of doing that. And I've no idea if I can play this. It's incredibly complicated, but the chord symbols are there, which makes it a little easier. So anyway, right, that's the rhythm. I'm sort of sight reading it in my head while I talk to you or think about it. Is that the right? Yeah, we'll start with that. There's a piano in here somewhere. There it is. To do some Jelly Roll Morton style. Jelly Roll Morton was a very crazy jazz pianist. He was from New Orleans, and he had a very good sort of ragtime stride style, but he sort of had a very good sort of rhythmic with it, a very good rhythmic with it as well, and had great fun doing it. So let's see if we can get some Jelly Roll Morton fun into this transcription of his Library of Oh, I was right, 1938. Morton's 1938 Library of Congress performance. Let's see what happens. No prisoners taken. Let's see what happens. an approximation of Jelly Roll Morton's Miserere from Il Trovatore. I don't know if you would recognize it from in there. Jelly Roll Morton went on to sort of improvise around it a lot more, which was much more fun. And I can't actually remember the recording. I have it somewhere in the back of my mind. He talks in the middle of the recording as well. He sort of talks to the reporter and says, oh, and then when we did this, and then we did this, and then we did this. It sort of goes off on a tangent, as Jelly Roll Morton regularly did. Now, we have a very nice request coming later for Michael, I think, for Michael, if I remember rightly. But we have lots of other goodies. There's a second book here. I beg your pardon?
Ich habe eine super Nachricht für dich.
Eine super Nachricht für mich.
Rien wird jetzt dieses Akkordeon-Dings einspielen und du kannst dir deine Stimme aussuchen irgendwie.
Deal. Rien plays the accordion, and Rien wants that accordion piece that Gleiswanderer sent, and he wants to multi-track it, and I get to multi-track one part of it as well. So we're going to do a joint effort, Rien, Schalkwijk and I. Nice idea, well done. Two pieces of music from this part of the book here. This is another one by Harold Arlen. We started off this evening with a piece of music by Harold Arlen called Somewhere Over the Rainbow, from, of course, The Wizard of Oz. But Harold Arlen was a wonderful, wonderful composer, composed many, many beautiful tunes. And one of them, I'm actually going to dedicate this one to Jürgen Stelzer. And Jürgen Stelzer isn't with us tonight because he's not feeling very well. Jürgen Stelzer is having trouble with the weather. Now, you know how some people are sort of, weather sensitive? If the weather's rotten, if the weather's weird, it affects their health. Jürgen suffering from that kind of thing. So the part of the country he's living in is very sticky and stormy at the moment. So I'm going to play Stormy Weather for Jürgen Stelzer. Lieber Jürgen Stelzer, wir haben gehört, es geht dir nicht gut, das Wetter macht dich bekloppt. Und wir spielen dann für dich, extra für dich, dieses Stück Stormy Weather von Harold Arlen. A nice bluesy number for our friend Jürgen. Stormy weather, don't know why, there's no sun up in the sky. Stormy weather. So...
Langsam tauchen sie alle auf.
Oh, everyone's arriving. Yes, it's true. Numbers are going up again. Bodensee-Horn is here. Nancy is here. Reen's been here for a while. Rodi is here. Rasbaz? No Rasbaz. Rodi. Wo ist Rasbaz? Matt Leach is here. Hello, Matt Leach. Haven't seen you for a while. Hello. Who else is here? Who else is here, man?
Aber Graham ist nicht da.
Uncle Graham is not there this evening. Uncle Graham, where are you? Who else is just arrived? Everyone's here tonight. We have a great crowd. We love our crowd. We have a wonderful crowd. We're very, very, very privileged to have such a wonderful crowd. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us on a regular basis and keeping us company while we play these little concerts. Ah, there it is. On Friday night, I did an Italian night, and I did a sort of a Dean Martin number. Which one was it? The Roma, something about the nights in Roma. Well, it's there somewhere. Anyway, I did it, and somebody asked for another piece of music by Dean Martin that we haven't. I don't think I've ever played it actually, and here it is in the book. And it's back in the 60s when Dean Martin was at his greatest. He recorded many albums of old jazz songs and sort of turned them into big band numbers. And the great thing about a theatre organ is you can turn it into a big band. So let's do that. I'll play this one. This is an old, very old one, again from 1930. I didn't realize it was that old. From a guy called Stept, S-T-E-P-T. No idea who that is. Stept or Stepf, probably Step, and Claire. Don't know who they were, but they composed this wonderful piece of music. Please don't talk about me when I'm gone, though our friendship ceases from now on. And listen, if you can't say anything real nice, it's better not to talk at all. That's my advice. We're parting, you go your way, I'll go mine. It's best that we do. Here's a kiss. I hope that this brings lots of luck to you. Makes no difference how I carry on. Remember, please don't talk about me when I'm gone. I want to. ha. Please don't talk about me when I'm gone. Wonderful old piece of music. I love the Dean Martin version of it. So thank you for requesting that. You know who you are, and I'm very, very kind. I'm very grateful to you for, grateful to you for requesting that kind of stuff. Razbaz is here as well. Oh, the whole team is there. Well done, everybody. Joining us. Hello. That's very kind of you to be there. Back to our friends from the original Dixieland jazz band, Nick LaRocca and whoever it was at Shields. Has anyone found that out yet? And this is a wonderful, 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 very, very old piece of music from that band. 1917. That's how old this is. 105 years old, my goodness. And this is a piece of music that used to be played by all the sort of Dixieland jazz bands. And Kenny Ball and his jazz band played this on a regular basis. And I played this with a band I was in for a while, Rod Mason and his Hot Five. And this was one of the sort of feature numbers we did from time to time. And my mum will remember a wonderful occasion in what year was it? 2007? My parents came to, was it 2000? Yes, it must have been 2007. My parents came to visit, and we went to a jazz festival together. I was playing with two bands at this jazz festival, and Rod Mason and his Hot Five, we had a special guest that night. That special guest was Kenny Ball. And Kenny was there on his own. He'd flown over on his own, and obviously during the flight he'd enjoyed a tasty beverage or two, shall we say. And when he arrived at the gig, he proceeded to enjoy a few more tasty beverages. And throughout the course of the evening, the trumpet features of Kenny Ball became less and less. We just let him sing some songs, and Rod did all the trumpet work. And by the end of the evening, poor Kenny was rather worse for wear. And I remember at one point my mum helping Kenny. My mum was a great fan of Kenny Ball, and it's always great, you know, it's never a good idea to meet your heroes, they sort of say. And my mum sort of spent a fair bit of the evening looking after Kenny and, you know, keeping hold of him, basically. And I remember at the very end of the evening, Kenny was piled into our trombone player's car, Johnny. And Johnny was driving him back to the hotel, and he didn't know which hotel it was. He'd forgotten his trumpet case. He just had his trumpet in his hand. He'd forgotten the case. And he was playing the trumpet out the window of the car. They got stopped by the police on the way to the hotel. Kenny didn't know which hotel he was going to. And thankfully, the police knew who he was and knew where he was supposed to be. So Johnny got to drive him to the right hotel after all. A fun evening for all. But one of the pieces we wanted Kenny to play, but he didn't. Was that the dog? Our dog's having a bad dream downstairs. Oh no, do you want to go and see him? Okay, Vanessa will go and see him. But this is one of the pieces we wanted Kenny to play that night because he used to play it with his band. And it sadly didn't work. It's called the Ostrich Walk. Bridge Walk from Nick LaRocca and Co. Who fancies the music of Star Trek, everybody? Remember Star Trek, a wonderful series from the 60s with Captain Kirk and Mr. Spock and Mr. Sulu and Mr. Chekhov and Lieutenant Uhuru and the other one in the blue shirt who always got killed. Anyway, cheers. Oh, I forgot Bones, didn't I? Dr. McCoy. The piece of music. The main theme of Star Trek was actually based on a jazz piece of music, again from 1930. We should have called tonight's concert the 30s. Pretty much everything's been from 1930s tonight. And the piece of music in question was deliberately chosen by Gene Roddenberry, and it was called Out of Nowhere. And not many people know that, but the piece of music was deliberately chosen because of its amazing chord progressions, back to Jerry and our chord progressions, Out of Nowhere. And the chord progressions, you might recognize them from the Star Trek theme. Here it is. I'm going to play it as a sort of, I'm going to change those registrations. No, I think I'll leave them. They're rather good for this. I'm going to play it as a kind of bossa nova. Oi, 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 oi.
Das geht nicht, das Management hat die Macht. Hör auf damit.
Ah, my director was busy lurking in the background.
Nein.
I said finished and she didn't change cameras yet. I'm in trouble now. I changed the cameras myself. Oh look, they got stuck. Oh, there it is.
128 aus dem Braunen.
128, is that, will it fit on a jazzy organ?
Ja, okay.
Oh, let's find out. Let's find out. A regular on this program, ladies and gentlemen, is the Brown Book of Deliciousness. And the Brown Book of Deliciousness, I can't even say it, the Brown Book of Deliciousness. Yeah, that's good. These are hymn tunes. These are hymn tunes. And they're rather wonderful. And apparently this one will work on the theatre organ. So I'm going to turn it into a sort of a, I don't know, let's find out. See what we can do with it. Let's turn it into, what's that? Oh, what did I do? Oh, no, I didn't do anything. It was you. I pressed a button and the colour changed. I thought that was me. Is there a change there? All right, this is a set of registrations I recorded for something. I have no idea what they're for. It's called March. Why is there a piano in the bass there? I'll get rid of that. That'll do. Right, let's make a theatre organ version of this. Tu mehr, do more. This is a hymn tune, believe it or not.
Yellowbird Nest hat eine Frage.
I beg your pardon, Yellowbird Nest. What band leader did this in the 1970s? Is that a trick question? I don't know, is the answer. The out of nowhere turning it into Star Trek, you mean? Everybody did that. Everybody did it. We used to do it as well. All bands, I think, all bands do it who know the link. So I'm guessing there was a famous band that did it, but yes, let's find out. Right, ladies and gentlemen, it's getting late. This is going to be our second last number of the evening. Tu mehr, do more. It's a hymn tune and it's a request from our friend Gleiswanderer. Let's see what we can do with it. rather like that. It sounds quite good on a theatre organ, doesn't it? Yeah, do more. I quite like. I'm going to do something with that and turn that into a proper theatre organ feature. Thank you for that. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Sunday night is organ music night. We need to finish off with something exciting, and I'm going to finish off with, I think we'll have my piano again, and we'll finish off with a piece of music by a composer we have not featured yet this evening. And I'm going to take I don't normally need the book for this piece of music, but because there's is it even in here? Oh God, it probably won't be. Oh, it will be actually, hold on. Yes, it will. Because half of this book is missing. But I just realized that it should actually be here. And it should be right here. Or here, or where is it? It should be there. Hold on a moment. Where is it? Why isn't it there? Hold on. I don't need it for the music. I need it for the... There it is. I need it for the... It's not even in there. Ha! So I don't need it at all. I was going to use it for the verse, but the verse isn't even in there. So there we are. George Gershwin. George Gershwin's most famous composition of them all, I Got Rhythm. And we're going to finish off with I Got Rhythm tonight in a mad, frenzied version. So I do hope, ladies and gentlemen, you enjoyed this evening. Thank you for taking part in the audience. Thank you for your concert tickets and your general donations and Spenden auf Deutsch. Thank you very much indeed for your help. It helps us keep these concerts going. It helps us keep things going and get things sorted. Thank you. Alcohol-free beer, by the way. You don't think I'm an alcoholic sitting at the organ. It's all alcohol-free. I've got to concentrate. Yeah, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We hope you enjoyed the weekend of music. We will be back at the very latest on Friday, but there will be a lot more content created in between. Watch this space. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. See you very soon. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you on Friday. Bye-bye.